I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Luke Bayard. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Doing wonderful here. I'm excited to watch the Dodgers postseason game tonight against the Cubs.
Oh, sweet. When is that starting? What time is it now?
It is 5:17 here, and that starts, I think, just after 6 p.m.
Oh, sweet. Who are you going for? Who are you voting for?
I am a huge eat, sleep, and drink, let's say, Dodgers fan.
All right. Well, all the best to the Dodgers, right? All the
yes,
best
exactly.
to the Dodgers. Well,
exactly.
Luke, it's a great pleasure. Please tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
So I am currently in Los Angeles right now. I am down here visiting my family, but I do live in San Luis Obispo, California. And for those that would like a geographic reference, that is exactly halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles on the coast.
All right. Well, tell me, which of your talents, Luke, is responsible for us meeting?
Podcasting. We connected on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you heard the yeah, right? Like, he's a podcaster. Yeah. Yeah, well, tell us about your podcast. It is an amazing podcast, right? Cult of the Startup, right? Cult of Startup.
Yep. Yeah, a little easy, a little confusing on the name every now and then, but I stole it kind of from the Cult of Mac, which was a thing that existed a while ago that might still be going. I don't know whether or not it is. But aside from that, the podcast is all about interviewing founders from a variety of backgrounds, and I try to focus on discussing the early days of founding their companies and what steps they took to find success with their businesses, and then as well as talk about the evolution of the business of going from maybe, let's say, 5 employees to 100 employees. And I love doing it. It's a huge passion project of mine, and anybody who's looking to get into podcasting, thumbs up to you. Do it. It is the funnest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, I got to listen to the conversation you had with the founder of Bayard, right?
Yes.
Which was fascinating. It spoke a lot of who you are and the questions you asked.
Thanks.
Most definitely. It felt good. Like, I felt as though I was getting a class from someone that had experiences, right? Both you and her. Mm-hmm. And that was really awesome. Like she's done some amazing things, right? And you touched on every aspect of the conversation, even the question of asking her, as a woman, right, how she functions in the tech world, and has she gotten any challenges with that, right? Of course, I'm paraphrasing. You did it much better, right? But it's. I really enjoyed the podcast. Totally enjoyed that conversation. Yeah, look forward to getting into more. So, who did you learn that skill from? That skill of being able to interview on that level.
The thing that I trace this back to is my experience in high school, where I joined the improv team my senior year. And in doing that, you are forced to sort of work on a whim or work off of whatever material is given to you. So I feel like oftentimes in my interviews, I use that skill set to continue the conversation in an interesting way, rather than, let's say, shutting it down, which in improv, it's all about yes and is like the biggest thing you can do. Yeah. So whatever you can do to keep that conversation rolling in an interesting and intricate way, you do it.
But that definitely explains a ton. Yeah, that was really good. Like, I went it took me about 25 minutes in to switch to 2x because of the amount of podcasters that I have on, and I wanted to listen, right? So I switched to 2x, and I'm regretting it. It's like I'm saying, but I wanted to get to the end of it, which speaks masses as well, right? So
my podcast format is I try to do the long form content that's different than everybody else. There's a lot of people who do sort of short 30-minute bits, but I really like to dial into that story of the entrepreneur as much as possible and get that journey out to my audience. Because I feel like if I were just to hop on and do what are the main key pro tips you have as a startup founder, that's not very interesting. People want to come in and hear that story and then use that story for their own startup or their own company.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a space for each, and most definitely,
Yes.
me being the 12-minute podcaster,
Yeah.
I do appreciate what you are doing tremendously, because my thing is I attempt to go really deep, really fast, but I regret it, right? I regret that it's 12 minutes because, if you could go so deep, could you imagine what else exists if we had time?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So,
For sure. No, I totally, if I did a 12-minute podcast, I'd probably be like, there's so much more. But I love your strategy. I think condensing it and doing as much as possible in 12 minutes, it's a great way to be like, all right, let's talk about interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Yeah. So tell me, why will you continue to repeat this skill? The skill of putting the time in, which is challenging, right? Putting the time in, scheduling that time, definitely building the relationships that are necessary for such a conversation. Why will you continue to repeat that?
I believe that I will continue to repeat that because I feel like having that lengthy content, both benefits my audience and also benefits myself. And oftentimes after my interviews, my guests will tell me, wow, you mentioned some things that I haven't really thought about in my business, or you made me think about things that I haven't really thought about in my business, because they're not always held against the wall to think past a handful of those questions that they might get, let's say, from an investor or a friend or a family friend, that I kind of go, all right, well, let's rethink this one more time. What are some other angles that we could take this to?
Yeah, I was listening to your podcast today, and the thought that popped into my mind is that it's a good idea for entrepreneurs to attempt to start getting onto podcasters for themselves. Mm-hmm. Just to answer those questions, just to no, I don't know the answer to that, and then go back and get the answer for it, because as you said, it's really, I could see them saying that at the end. Please do tell me, Luke, one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Something I've done consistently over the last 3 years. I have always gone to events. And I want to say that just as an overarching thing. I've always gone to a lot of concerts and a lot of sporting events. And there's something about those events that I enjoy that kind of invigorates me, that I kind of feel charged up after I go to a concert, let's say.
Yeah. So you're charged up. So suggest to someone out there why they should at least put something like that into their life, like a dose of exhilarating concerts.
Well, I think life should be fun. Life should be enjoyable. So like this last weekend, my girlfriend and I, we went and saw Macklemore live down in LA. And I saw the event pop up on Facebook, and I said, hey, let's go to this. This is going to be fun. I've heard he's a great performer. He's got a great message. Let's go do it. And afterwards, I felt charged. Yeah. So I think other people, and it's not that this is other people's formula for this could be different. It could be going for a run. It could be just going to hang out with friends. It could be going to get a coffee. Do your thing that charges you up.
Yeah, love it. All right, my friend. Well, amazing audience. We are live with Luke Bayard. He is the podcast host of Cult of Startup. Do check that out. No, it's not a cult thing, right? It's just a play on words. It's definitely value. Definitely value. And it sticks out, like you're passing by on iTunes and you see that. It's like, ooh, let me see what this is, right? Mm-hmm. But definitely amazing podcast. Love what you're doing there, Luke. Luke, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Luke, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I would say my earliest childhood memory would be one time I was biking, and I was really into BMX in like elementary school, and I was going off of a jump, and when I landed off the jump, my foot slipped off the pedal, and I ended up slicing my shin open and had to get 10 stitches in my shin, disrupting whatever my parents were doing that day and going to the ER. Wow. So there was a handful of those injuries that occurred through my elementary school and high school years, where I guess we're taking Luke to the ER today, but that's the most notable and early one I can remember.
How old do you think you were?
I was probably in 5th or 6th grade at the time.
Yeah. So why do you think this memory is so clear?
Because it makes complete sense for the rest of my life. Usually I got to kind of beat myself up before I find some success in something.
Ooh, you don't need my interpretation, right? Oh, well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
I love the fact if I'm looking at the picture, right, from the conversation, that the one leg was damaged, and that in itself gave you the experience to have a conversation with some other person who probably went through something like that. And the fact that your business acumen has arrived from things that cause pain gives you now the opportunity to have conversations with other business entrepreneurs, if you would, and speak on that, so it's relatable. And it's fascinating how it connects. So you guys out there and you you are injured. However, it creates an opportunity for conversations then, for not just for you and the person, but for so many other people to benefit from.
I love the through line.
Yeah. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Ooh, when I was 12, it had to have been Green Day's Time of Your Life.
Yeah, so it's fascinating how the names of these things connect. Like, it's definitely the time of your life, isn't it?
Certainly, it certainly is.
Well, Luke, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to go pretty quickly here. Luke, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes, I mentor a handful of students in entrepreneurship. I go out and facilitate startup weekends 2 or 3 times a year. So I definitely try to contribute back to that community. That's why I do the podcast, is I love startups.
Yeah. You said that you have a girlfriend, so you're not married. Do you have children?
No children.
Okay. Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Depends on what Netflix series has come out.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
I'd probably say it's around 8.
Look, after having 1,001 conversations in 2016, I came up with a workbook, the name of it being yours, your own unique real self. Connected to that is your own unique real statement, your mission. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, something that represents Luke Bayard, what would you say that is?
Ooh, let me think about this for one moment. Do what you're passionate about and figure out what that is as soon as possible, and just double down on that and keep working at it.
Love it. Luke Bayard, hey, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
As always, what I say in my podcast at the very end is just, you live.
You live. Luke Bayard, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.